Hi, welcome back. So, last time I was editing my video, it dawned on me that I never really told you guys about what inspires my design and what kind of interior design am I inspired by. And I thought I would tell you guys a little bit about what that is. I did mention before that I let the space speak to me, and while that does sound like I'm about to host a seance and summon some ghosts of the room for the guidance for the design of the room, but that's not quite what happens. As you guys already know, that most of the time I'm just staring at the walls and looking at the furniture and waiting for them to tell me what I should do. That's not quite as exciting as summoning a ghost, but most of the times I think it works for me. And if I must label, I guess I'm leaning modernist, form follows function, as a lot of people put it. And basically what that means is that you think about the functionality. What does this space need to do? And then style comes afterwards. But my house, my flat is not a museum of authentic modernist pieces. I'm not sitting on a 7,000 euros Eames lounge chair to make this video. I'm sitting on my IKEA bed. And the thing is, my flat is made of a lot of pieces that I got secondhand, from IKEA to pieces from the GDR period in Germany. If you don't know what that is East Germany. And along with some of the most elaborate pieces that I have from even before that don't quite belong in the pure modernist household, if you know what I mean. And I like it that way. It's modernist thinking, not modernist cosplay. And back in design school, I noticed that a lot of my fellow designer students were obsessed with finding the next new material and new visual language that they were more focused on nailing certain looks as opposed to really thinking in modernist ideology or philosophy. And I get it. They are following the footsteps of what was successful in modernism, and especially in mid-century modern. After all, the new materials from the Industrial Revolution to American oil expansionism, the wartime shortage pushing creative minds and solutions, those are all the things that really fueled and drove the innovations that were made possible in that time period. But here's the thing. They were replicating the success in the past, not really focusing on problem solving of the present day. Modernism wasn't just about clean lines and new materials, it was about problem solving. How do we house people better? How do we make beautiful things more affordable? How do we apply new manufacturing methods to improve daily life? Those were the things that modernist designers were thinking back then. That's why I care more about the function, adaptability, and problem solving, not the style or how things look. I mean, I do care about them, but they're not my priorities, you know what I mean? So like anything from IKEA to vintage finds, or from the street to GDR period pieces of furniture, they all live happily together in my spaces as long as they serve me and the room. But if you think about it, the modernist designs are actually quite old. Some of the most well-known popular modernist designs and furniture are like more than 100 years old. So why are they still so popular in 2025? It's actually a cliche love story if you think about it. Picture modernism as a long-term boyfriend material. He's reliable, he's thoughtful, he remembers your birthday and your parents. And then comes in the late 70s and 80s, postmodernism. He's cool, he's different, he's unapologetically expressive. He has this big, why the hell not energy, like that guy who picks you up in a leather jacket and on Harley Davidson. He really wraps you around his finger and he makes you so excited. You're buying a chair that looks like a cloud made out of dozens of balls, but You don't even know where to sit, and who cares? And you've got a giant nose-shaped lamp with 2 beams of light coming out of its nostrils. And honey, you also got a dresser that has more sass in its doorknob than a Mariah Carey, honey. But hey, if that really makes you happy, I'm really, really happy for you. But in time, all these theatricals you will grow tired of. And when that happens, you'll think of the good old modernism. And then you call him up and say, hey, listen, I made a mistake. And as cool as ever, modernism would say, I knew you'd be back. It's the same in art as well, from the medieval stained glass to tell the Bible stories to the Renaissance zeroed in on anthropocentrism, human-centered revelation. And then comes Impressionists who ditched the outlines altogether and chased light, to abstraction by the likes of Kandinsky and Picasso, who pursued pure form, pure color, the universe of beauty. Right? Every time we get used to it, you get tired of it, you got bored, and you pursue something new. You crave something different, something fresh, because you are visual infobores. And postmodernism burned bright but short. It was bold, it was fun. It rejected everything that modernism stood for. But here's the thing. Once it burned out, once it faded, there was nothing ready to take over the void. And in the 90s and 2000s, you get a bit of everything, splintered trends for furniture and interior design. You got a bit of minimalism, a depth of industrial chic to Scandinavian hygge to even rustic farmhouse trend. But none of these were design movements with a deep philosophy, manufacturing method, and a distinct visual language. They were mood boards, not movements. And design history showed us that when there's no new movement to rally around, we go back to what worked before, and that's modernism. It's the last design philosophy that managed to be radical, functional, beautiful, and manufacturable, all at the same time. So when the retail market became boring and people were feeling a little visually starved, the reissues of the mid-century design classics like Im's lounge chair and Barcelona chair, they didn't sell because they were just pretty. They sold because they stood the test of time and taste and remained relevant. But here's one thing for me. I don't live in a museum. I take the modernism philosophy, the clarity, functionality, and problem solving, and I mix it with whatever actually works for my space and budget, whether that be IKEA, vintage, thrifted, DDR pieces to some elaborate pieces that I can cheaply find. Modernism informs my choices, not dictate them. So yeah, I choose functions, not trends. And if it ends up looking like a mid-century catalog, so be it. But I like to think that my spaces tell a story, an honest one, about materials that age honestly, functionality that actually serves daily lives, and sustainability through actions and lifestyle, not a marketing stunt. And that's why I prefer to buy pre-loved items and give them a new function, a second lease in their lives. And lately, that has been such a trend. It's funny that I'm talking about trend when I'm kind of anti-trend, but however, that I've been seeing a lot of content creators, interior designers are sourcing their decorative pieces or furniture through secondhand or vintage stores and markets, which I think is a wonderful thing. But I do feel like sometimes they're not really about sustainability, but more about putting a price tag on time and heritage. But that's for another video. Until then, I hope you choose to tell your own stories through your space. And that's it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope to see you guys next time. Ciao.